what you end up with
I
are
oppose
these
mass immigration
communities,
from the Arab
again,
world by Matt Walsh.
push everybody out, you import your people, and now it's, now you have Pakistan right in the middle of the country. Last week, when we talked about the situation in Dearborn, Michigan, which has become, as we discussed, essentially a Middle Eastern Islamic capital right in the middle of the American heartland. And there's another video I want to play, which again highlights this problem. But before I do, I want to respond to a few things because there's a lot of reaction to my segment last week, which now has like 600,000 views on YouTube and 16,000 comments, and however many million more views on X, and a lot of comments. Obviously strikes a chord, not always a positive chord. Lots of people are very upset with me. And two major themes emerged in the critical comments. The biggest theme, as you would expect, is that I'm racist and I'm xenophobic and I'm Islamophobic and on and on and on.
Well, those insults will always get thrown at both of us, Matt. I fully agree on this opposing mass immigration from the Arab world, simply due to the fact that every single time that you've had Islam come into a country, they have been the minority, they fight for minority rights, they get themselves a whole bunch of extra rights, and it kind of doesn't really level the playing field with the people who have more people. All of a sudden, they keep importing more and more and more over a couple years, and now they have the majority population, and then they start just killing everyone who's not going to join them. And especially Christians. And being a heavily Christian nation, this is a threat. This is a full city sitting right here in the United States. It's a problem, and it needs to be solved.
And look, if that's what you think, if that's the way you see it, I don't care.
I don't either.
I'm not going to sit here and desperately try to convince you otherwise. I just don't care. I don't care that you think that of me. So if you are, and I know when I say that, people will say, well, how could you? You're just going to let people, you're okay with people saying that? Yeah. They're going to say what they're going to say.
I can't change them at that point. If
that's what you think of me, I don't care. I don't care that you think that of me. I'm not going to bother to try to disprove. Oh, no, please don't. Please don't.
This ain't 2020 anymore. We ain't getting fired for being called that. This is 2025, where we can say things again.
Don't say that. What do I have to do to prove to you that I'm not xenophobic? I'm not doing that. Doesn't matter to me. That's fine. You can go ahead and say that. I especially don't care because you're all a bunch of hypocrites and liars. All of you. All the people having a hissy fit over my commentary on this issue. You're all full of crap. Every single one of you. And you know it. You tell me that I should embrace and celebrate the fact that American cities are being Islamicized. I should celebrate when American cities are taken over by Arab immigrants. And next thing you know, they're blasting the call to prayer at 5:30 in the morning and renaming streets after Muslims. And the Muslim mayor is telling Christian citizens they aren't welcome.
They're not just naming streets after Muslims. They're naming them after literal members of Hamas
in the city and all the rest of it. You think I should celebrate that or at least accept it? Well, here's what I know. And it's what you know. And you know that I know it. Which is that if the exact same thing were happening in an Arab country, none of you would be celebrating it. None of you would be embracing that in the way that you want me to embrace this, the way that you want all of us to embrace this. If Islamic culture and tradition were being pushed out of a Muslim country in favor of white Christians who were moving in and Christianizing and westernizing the place, you would say that it was colonialism, it's imperialism, it's white supremacy, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
If there's any Arabic country, if there's any Middle Eastern country that over time became significantly less Islamic and more Western and more Christian, you would openly lament that fact.
Yeah, they
no
would
shame
hate
or
it.
embarrassment. You would see it as like self-evident that that is a bad thing. Because you believe that Islamic countries have the right to preserve and protect their heritage and their culture. But you think that my country, that America, has no such right. And that's why your opinion is less than worthless to me. Your opinion is is laying on the ground as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't mean anything to me.
Exactly.
I mean, just to show you.
When if I go and try to practice my religion in your country that you came from, and I would be killed and hung and publicly executed for that, then yes, you don't belong practicing your religion as openly and as widely as the city of Dearborn is attempting to. That is an invasion.
How absurd this is, okay? Just to show you. There's a guy who responded to me on X. He posted this. Judging leaders by their religion, not their merit, isn't patriotism. It's bigotry. America thrives on diversity, not fear.
By his name, I would guess which spot he came, which part of the world he came from, or his family comes from.
Now, the guy who posted this is named Mansoor Ahmed Qureshi, and he lives in Pakistan.
Oh, would you look at that?
So number one, we have a guy who doesn't even live in this country trying to tell us what makes America thrive. We got a foreigner in a country thousands of miles away trying to tell me, an actual American, about America. And there's a lot of this going on, right? A lot of the accounts that you see, especially on social media, saying, let me tell you about America. Let me tell you what America's really about. Oh, you don't understand America. So many of that commentary is coming from people who've never even stepped foot in this country. They're 7,000 miles away, like pontificating. I think
They're a simple B-2 bomber flight in the night away.
I know what America's really about. The gall, the arrogance that I would never do in the other way. I would never say to somebody in Pakistan, let me tell you what Pakistan's really about. Oh, I would never hear someone in Pakistan like giving their opinion about something. And then I say, well, that's not consistent with Pakistan.
Yeah, I'm tired of the other nations around the world having to always stick their 2 cents into American politics. Yeah, we do stick our nose in other countries, but like right now, the one country I've stuck my nose into a couple to point at their politics is the UK, because literally watching what's going on is what's happened to Dearborn on a mass entire country scale. It is literally mass illegal immigration into an area of one type of race or people, and they are attempting to take over. And the Prime Minister of the UK is literally letting it happen.
Any values? What the hell do I know about Pakistan?
Exactly, that too.
And why would I care? Like, that's your culture. You could do whatever you want with it. And also, you live in Pakistan. How much diversity and tolerance do they have in Pakistan, Ahmed?
Yeah.
How's it going over there with?
Yeah. Could I get hired at a company there just for being a white guy? Could my friends be hired there just for being black? Could Matt Walsh be hired, or could Matt Walsh's boss, Ben Shapiro, be hired just for being a Jew? Probably definitely not on that last one.
The diversity and the tolerance, huh? How's your anti-bigotry campaigning going over there? How's that landing? How would you feel if I showed up in Pakistan with a mob of millions of white Christians and we got to work to drive Islamic culture out of the country and replace it with our culture?
I don't know about you, but I don't think they'd like that very much. I think they would very much despise anyone coming in and removing any of their culture, as they would call it. But all we're doing is we're just bringing our own in. We're gonna immigrate and then bring our own stuff in. Because, well, apparently that's what everyone thinks immigration is now. You immigrate to join a nation and join a culture. You're not bringing your own with you. You're not having to bring your whole home from your country. You're going to try things differently. You're going to do things differently. You're going to have things around you happen differently. And you're supposed to embrace it. You're not supposed to cower into your own shell and just only do what you've done all along. It's like, if you wanted to do that, then you should have stayed the fuck home.
How'd you feel about that? What if we did it, We didn't take over the whole country, but we picked out some enclaves here and there, increasing numbers of them. Drove the Muslims out and imported a bunch of white Christians and created our little white Christian enclaves.
Yeah, we build little Christian enclaves, get a whole bunch of churches in there, have super great Christian values, and have our church bells ringing at appropriate prayer times of the day. Not at 5:30 in the goddamn morning.
How'd you feel about that? How would Pakistan? How would all the Pakistanis feel about it? How would they respond to that? How long would we all survive before we were rounded up and stoned to death? Not
Oh, I don't think we'd make it a week.
very long, I suspect. And you, Ahmed, would be at the front of the line holding the biggest rock, wouldn't you?
He would be excited
While you're
to
still
throw
giving
it.
your little speech about bigotry and hatred. You'd stone us to death for being too hateful.
Yeah, that's what they'd call it, even though
So
we'd
I'm
just
not
be
going to
a
be made to feel somehow
group that
guilty
would-
for wanting America to be American. I'm especially not going to be made to feel guilty about it by someone who definitely wants Pakistan to be Pakistani. I'm the one being consistent here because I don't begrudge Pakistan being Pakistani. I don't
exactly.
begrudge Pakistan having a Pakistani culture. It's not the culture I want to live in. That's the point. It's not American culture. I don't want any part of it. But that's your thing. You can have that in your country. That's perfectly fine. I've been stridently against any attempt by Western countries to let's import democracy. Let's import Westernized concepts of freedom into these. I don't want that. I'm against it. I've always been against it. Because my point is, like, if you don't want democracy there, you don't have to have it.
Yeah. If your country wants democracy and a large enough group asks for help, we're welcome to come help. We do, as Americans, we do like being a group that can go around the world and help anyone who needs it. But if you don't want us there, I am on that same side as Matt. Let's leave. Let's not be there. Goodbye. Get on without us and have fun.
That's up to you. But guess what? I don't want Middle Eastern culture. I don't want it. American culture is not Middle Eastern culture.
Yeah, those two cultures actually are kind of opposite each other, and this isn't an opposites attract scenario. This is a opposites want to murder each other scenario. Or rather, one side wants to murder the other, and the other side just says, no, I don't think we have the same beliefs that allow us to live together. You guys marry 9-year-olds, and we want to have big families and, good values. It's like, you don't have good values. You oppress your women. Your children are probably fearful if they're girls. If they're born a boy, they're probably super excited because they're going to be the ruling class one day, which that's just a screwed up culture. Screwed up way of life.
And that's not the culture that I want to live in. And that should not be the dominant culture in any community in this country, because this is America. Now, the other thing that I keep hearing is that our founding fathers valued diversity, specifically when it comes to Muslims. And so I see there's like 2 or 3 quotes from the same 2 or 3 quotes I've seen circulating from somebody back around that, George Washington talking about mentioning Muslims. But all that proves is that the founders knew that Islam existed, which of course they did, and that they didn't want to oppress or persecute Muslims, which of course they don't, and they didn't. And I don't want that.
However, the other way around is not the same.
They wanted religious liberty for everybody. Again, of course they wanted that. I also want that. The people in charge can't fix a pothole. It was meant to be. But this was at a time when there were basically no Muslims actually here, aside from a small percentage of slaves who were Muslim. Mass migration from Arab countries was not a thing. What none of the founders ever called for, what none of them could have even conceived, was the idea that millions of people from Arab countries would flood into our country and start taking over entire communities and creating Islamic enclaves in the middle of the United States.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if they had been aware of that, there might have been some kind of law initially in our Constitution or somewhere along the way against it. They would have limited the amount of religion, or probably across the board, I would think, to where, yeah, you can practice, but you can't make it like your whole community's goal. You can't, have the community being everything there. They has to have a certain percent each year here if you come in and choose to do that, or you can't do it at all.
What was not conceived is that a formerly American Christian community would become an Islamic state capital in the middle of our country. They never called for that. They never condoned it. They never supported it. They never said anything that could even be remotely construed that way. They never considered it even a possibility that it could happen.
Nope.
So saying that we want Muslims, we don't want to persecute anybody, including Muslims, that's great. Agreed. But that is a far cry from saying, hey, let's import millions of Arab people all at the same time and bring them into this country with their culture and just and push out American culture and supplant it with Middle Eastern culture.
Yeah.
And if you honestly think that's what the founding fathers had in mind, then you are just too stupid to even, it's like, I can't talk to you. We can't have a conversation. You're too dumb for it.
Yeah, very true.
And that brings us to the latest news out of Dearborn. Actually, this is from a few weeks ago. Somebody named Amy Meck posted this clip of the Islamic police chief of Dearborn. This, again, is from a few weeks ago. But just to, when we talk about supplanting, right, this is not.
Yeah, this town is becoming extremely Muslim led. It's a crazy amount of the percent of their police force and their their elected city members. It's like this town, something needs to happen. A wall needs to be built around it. Something containment. Can't let this be getting out too far. It's like gonna ruin 250 years of American culture.
And you could strawman it all you want.
Sharia law has no place in America.
No one is complaining about, there are Muslims who live here. I got no issue with the fact that Muslims live in the country. I got no issue with, the issue is always, okay, you live in this country, assimilate into our culture.
Yeah. That's how immigration works. You come to a country and you join the country. If I went to Germany, I wouldn't expect and hope everyone around me there speaks English and does everything I do in America. If I go to Japan, I wouldn't expect them to speak English. I would expect them to speak Japanese. In Germany, I would expect them to speak German. If I go somewhere, excuse me, I, as a sane individual who has a full functioning brain, expect if I go to a country that I should be like that country. If I go to a Muslim country that practices Sharia law, then yes, I will, while I'm there, practice the law, because that's the law of the land. In America, that is not the law of the land here. In America, we have very open gun rights. So with, Muslims and having to cover a portion of their population in robes head to toe, I don't know if there might be a weapon hiding under that robe. Who knows? What if there's a gun? What if there's a knife? What if it's like, yeah, there's a lot of what ifs, but also, what if some, deranged lunatic on either side of the political spectrum, wants to kill a bunch of people? Oh, I can easily pretend to be Muslim and I can grab one of these robes, pop it on, and hide, knives on my belt, extra clips going up my chest. I can have a bulletproof vest on underneath and no one will even see. I can, have maybe little slits cut into the gown to pop gun barrels out and shoot with. It's like, you could really plan a very big mass murder with having so much weaponry hidden under a full head to toe robe. Movies make it so simple that, things can be concealed and hidden easy. Knives and simple, like, at edges of your ankles, and, like, there's so much that can be hidden up sleeves and around the chest and waist, especially if it's covered. They're a huge threat.
You do not supplant our culture with yours. Okay, you cannot require us to assimilate to you. You assimilate to us. That's it. Pretty reasonable. I think that's pretty reasonable. But here's what's actually happening, and this is the police chief of Dearborn describing it. Listen to this.
Wonderful wife, Deanna, a strong, proud Palestinian woman. When I joined the department, Dearborn's Arab American population was nearly 50%. Yet less than 3% of our police force reflected the community that we served. The department was not always welcoming to people who were different. Today, the Dearborn Police Department is the department that I wish I worked for when I first started my career. It's now a department that reflects and embraces the community it serves, with 45% of our officers being Arab American.
Yeah, almost half of their police force are Arab American. And this comes to the point of, if you are traveling through or near the town, what if every single one of those police members don't speak English fully well or something like that? Maybe they have just a bare minimum to read our signs and get past the law. And, are these people they're hiring, are they hiring them just because they're Arab Americans? Or are they hiring them due to merit? Are we hiring based on DEI purposes, or is it based on, I am the best for this position, I can do it better than anyone else? Because if so, then yeah, by all means, have a great police force. Let's hope they're doing great. I have a feeling that's not it.
It's a department that respects the dignity and rights of all individuals, including the right to wear hijab, even when facing the justice system. It's a department that is taking meaningful steps to address historical inequity. Together, we've built a police department that values diversity, equity, and respect, one that serves all of Dearborn with honor and integrity. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I'm proud to serve as your chief of police.
Alhamdulillah, he says at the end there. That means all praise is due to Allah. That's
Allah being their God who married a 9-year-old.
a police chief in America giving praise to Allah during an official address to the public in uniform. So that's great. Right? Now, you're not allowed to have any problem. Who could possibly have an issue with that? Of course, every person, if you're not a Muslim and you see that, you find that unsettling. Everyone does. Every single one of us does.
Yeah.
It's just that you're supposed to pretend you don't. Meanwhile, he tells us that not long ago, 3% of the police force in the city was Arab. Now it's 45%.
Yep.
So tell me, how do you achieve that kind of demographic transformation in such a short amount of time? 3% to 45%. How do you do that? Well, you do it intentionally. That's how you do it. You do it by driving out the white Christians and replacing them with Arabs. You do it on purpose. That's the only way to do it. You cannot do that any other way than by saying, this is the result we want, and we're going to do whatever is necessary to make that result happen. And that's what they did. And they're not even hiding it. I'm not saying this is not.
Yeah, they're proud to admit. Yeah, we've eliminated 42% of only half the population of this town. We've, cut your portion of police force down. How's that feel for you?
I'm not revealing anything here. They're very clear about it. They prioritized Arabs in the hiring process, pushed out the white Christians, and this is an intentional effort to Islamicize the police force. And he admits that proudly. Yeah. It's a great thing, he says. Because now Arabs in the community have a police force that looks like them.
Yeah, I don't care with the police force if they look like me or anything. I just want them to do the job the best they can do. If a black man does the job better than a white man, put that black man in charge. But if that black man is not doing so well, if he's eating all the donuts and he's getting a little lethargic, well, kick him out of the job and find someone who can do it better. if we find a 5'8", a 5'6" Asian dude who is absolutely shredded because he spent a lot of time in the gym and he's just the fastest little guy out there, hey, stick him right on there. He'll be great at running down guys. Put him right on the front lines.
And this is the kind of thing that's considered acceptable for every group on the planet, again, except for white Americans, especially white Christians in America. Every other group can just like openly say, hey, I want to be around people who look like me and are from my culture. And I want institutions to be run by people from my culture. Every group on the planet can openly speak that way. And all of them do, all the time. We're the only ones who aren't allowed to.
Yeah.
That's been the deal. That's been the bargain for decades. And you notice the kind of circular logic that's at play here, because so they import Arabs into Michigan. And then they tell us that, well, there's so many Arabs here, because we have a few Arabs now, but so now we need a lot more. And the justification for importing more is always that, well, we've already imported them. So this is how it works.
Yeah.
So you take a community that it's almost entirely white and Christian, and then you say, hey, we need to diversify. Let's import a few Arabs.
And one thing I never understood is why, when you move your people to a new country, a new place, why do you put them all in the same spot? If someone wanted to wipe you all out, isn't that the easiest way for them to do it if you're all in the same area? Like, it's kind of crazy to put all your eggs in that one town, because someone's going to come and break them.
Then once you import them, you say, hey, well, now that we have this minority group here, they should be more supported. So let's import some more for the sake of diversity. And then once you have a critical mass, you say, hey, well, there's so many of them here, they should be represented better.
Yep.
So let's start driving the white Christians out of positions of authority and installing them instead.
Yeah, they're literally going to push out all the leadership of the town, and the whole town is going to become an Arab Muslim nation. And we'll have to watch it happen, because I don't think there's any stopping it at this point. There might only be one path forward to stopping it, and that one might not be a very peaceful one.
This continues exponentially until before long, the white Christian community has become, the formerly white Christian community has become an Arab Muslim community. That's the way it goes. And that's the process. And all the while, Arab Muslims in America are allowed to say, hey, I want to be around other Arab Muslims. I want my government to be run by people like me. This is what I want. They're allowed to say that. Yeah. And if you're a white Christian, you say, well, you know what? I want people like me running the government. That is unspeakable bigotry.
Yeah, right?
How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you want someone that looks like you in charge?
So this is the double. This is the you can't. Well, it's not even a double standard, actually. It's like a pretty consistent standard that is applied where they say, okay, well, here, if you're not white Christian, here's what you're allowed to say, but if you are, these are all the things you're not allowed to say.
It is literally racism. It is racist to white Christians in that community. All of a sudden that they're, it's a 50-50 community now because people got brought in. I wonder how many came over the last 4 years of the Biden administration. Or Biden's term. I wonder how many came in and moved there due to that. I wonder which nations they came from in majority population-wise. I wonder, what was the biggest reasoning for them coming here on their immigration forms? Like, there's usually, if you're going somewhere, they ask you why you're coming.
Okay. And it's a standard that's applied pretty consistently. Which is why, by the way, I have to admit, I was wrong about something. I confess that when conservatives would fret about Sharia law coming to America, I didn't really share their concerns for a lot. Actually, I thought it was kind of a boomer cringe thing for a long time. It's the kind of thing you see 65-year-olds posting about on Facebook. And because I thought, well, Sharia law is the least of our concerns, given that the leftist project is the opposite of Sharia law. I mean, it's the extreme opposite, right?
Yeah, although the leftist optic happens to, it looks better if they're welcoming to all. So they bring in these people who are going to target them and eliminate them first. That is the most screwed up part of it. They are absolutely on their target list. The Arab people in Islam is not friendly to trans, to gays. They hate all of that.
They want naked cross-dressers running around. They want men in women's rooms. It's
like they want women covered head to toe. They want men in charge of everything, and the men and women on the left are women and men.
The opposite of Sharia law. The extreme opposite. But
Yeah.
I was wrong because it is coming here through mass migration. I mean, obviously, right? It's like pretty obvious. That's how these things come here, is through mass migration. Now, are we going to have a Sharia law federal government anytime soon? No.
No, that'll be.
But what?
If it continues to grow like this, though, it will. I mean, think about it. You could have a couple generations of a town like this where they say, hey, we will steal money from the federal government to help fund you guys and your families. Have as many children as you physically can. Your wives will always be pregnant over the next 10 years, and we're going to 10x our population. And then all of a sudden, one town becomes 10, or one small city becomes a massive city. And, now you have a significant portion of the population after a generation or two that, it could get out of hand really quickly.
You end up with are these communities where, again, you push everybody out, you import your people, and now it's, now you have Pakistan right in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
Just like we have Somalia right in the middle of the country.
Yeah, we got every country that's got their
This is not a
that version of a country setting up shop. We've got little Latin America sitting in LA. You've got little Somalia hanging out over in Minnesota. Minnesota, right? Or is that? Yeah. I think I got that right. But, yeah, you got, little Pakistan, little Islam, whatever countries they're from, hiding right there in Dearborn, Michigan. It's like, they're coming. And it's like, in Somalia, fun fact, they only made rape a crime like 10 years ago. Up till like 10 years ago, rape was legal there. That doesn't seem like a culture I want anywhere near me. How about you?
This was never supposed to be the bargain. This was not supposed to be the deal. But it's what has happened. And we should not feel any shame about protesting it and speaking honestly about it. If you like to...
Yeah, this is a actual reason to go out and protest. These are the things you need to protest about in America due to things like this happening, and it must be fixed. Anyway, hit like, subscribe. Go subscribe to Matt Walsh if you're not already. He makes fantastic videos. If you haven't seen his movies he's done for Daily Wire, both of those are actually great. His What is a Woman and his Am I Racist? Am I Racist is a fantastic one where, a little teeny spoiler for it, he actually got some lady to pay his black producer reparations. It's probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole thing. But yeah. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.